In today's Smart Money, retirees have some key concerns. How much do I need to save? Have I saved enough? Can I avoid having to cut back on my standard of living in retirement? ABC-7 financial contributor Brian Mirau joins me. Brian, how much does someone need to retire?
Well, Mark, glad to be here today. You know, it really depends on each household situation, their goals, and their objectives. But a good rule of thumb is to look to replace 70 to 80% of your pre-retirement income. However, most folks that we visit with don't necessarily want to reduce their standard of living the day they retire. For our clients, we run what we call a retirement analysis, which will take into account all of your assets, your income, your expenses, your taxes, and other variables like inflation. And that helps us to calculate if you have enough to retire based on your own situation.
Brian, according to the 2023 TIAA Institute Personal Finance Index, 25% of employed adults decreased their retirement savings last year. What are your thoughts on the current inflation numbers?
Well, Mark, you know, we had 40-year record high inflation rates marked 2022 and impacted most Americans. You know, it makes sense that savings have gone down because, you know, it's just harder to save when everything costs more. You know, however, you know, inflation numbers are finally starting to cool off here in August, and reports show that it's sitting somewhere between 3 and 4%. And even with that inflation rate coming down, you know, it's going to take time to truly see the actual cost and pricing go down. You know, we're sure not seeing that at the grocery store and at the gas stations right now.
No, we're not. All right, talk about some tips for factoring inflation into someone's retirement plan.
Okay, Mark, here's some things you want to consider when facing inflation in retirement. You got to look at your spending patterns and ask yourself, are you consistent and do you have a firm budget? You want to look at what they call your cost of living in different areas and communities, and you want to be strategic about this. You got to look at the impact of downsizing your home, and could that make a difference in your retirement? And you got to look at the condition of your portfolio and ask yourself, are you balanced?
Brian, how do you talk to people about finding that right balance between growth to keep pace with inflation and seeking protection from too much risk?
Well, Mark, finding the right balance can be tough, but it's so critical for investors, and especially those nearing or already in retirement. A few key things you want to be sure and look at. You want to look at diversification. You know, it's the key to managing risk, especially as we get older. Are you too much at risk? You have to ask yourself. And you want to determine your risk tolerance. You want to assess your risk tolerance based on your financial goals, your time horizon, and your own personal circumstance. And you also want to review and rebalance your portfolios on a regular basis.
Brian, what else do you want to leave us with today?
Well, Mark, you got to have a game plan for your retirement, and you want to be comfortable knowing that you have enough to retire. And a big part of that is knowing that you have a solid income strategy to deal with inflation. We have a tool that I mentioned earlier called a retirement analyzer. And this is an advanced planning software tool that answers the question of how much do I need to retire and will my money last? And we can run that analysis free of charge for any of our viewers today. And Mark, one more thing, you know, we're offering a free complimentary copy of my new book titled Smart Money for the Backside of Life for anyone wanting to set a visit. And in my book, I discuss many different aspects of retirement that folks deal with on the backside of life.
And you can text RETIRE to 915-233-2904 for your free retirement analysis. And you can set a visit to receive a copy of Brian's new book. Again, the number 915-233-2904. Just text the word RETIRE. You can also visit Brian's website at mirocapital.com/TV. ABC-7 financial contributor Brian Mirau, thanks for your time as always.
Mark, thank you for having me today.